Welcome back to Hannity. So Hillary Clinton and her campaign, well, they should be very worried tonight. The FBI Director James Comey was asked about the ongoing investigation into a private email server earlier today, and here's what he said.
Somebody asked me in the States about whether I think the question was, is the Democratic National Convention I forget what the question was, a hard stop for you, or is that a key date for you? Are you doing this investigation aimed at... And I said, no. Right? We aspire to do all our investigations in two ways, well and promptly. I'm personally close to this investigation because I want to ensure that we have the resources, the people, the technology, and the space to do those things, and to do it in the way I hope we do all our work, which is competently, honestly, and independently. And I'm confident that it's being done that way.
Here with reaction, Chief Counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice, Jay Sekulow, Fox News contributor Monica Crowley. Both have been following this story closely. Jay, timing matters here. I mean, is there a possibility that there's a criminal referral, but it won't be made till after the Democratic convention? That would put our entire political system in a state of flux, right?
And I think that was the signal, actually, from Director Comey. I think what Jim Comey was saying is they're taking the evidence where it leads them. They will put together, if there's in fact a case to be made, they're going to put together the case. You mentioned it, Sean. It's called a criminal reference letter. That is, the FBI agents, in cooperation with lawyers, will put together a case. They will then take that case over to the Department of Justice, and a determination will be made if, in fact, a prima facie case has been shown that there's been a violation of the criminal law. We've talked before about those various allegations, but I think what James Comey is signaling pretty clearly there is he's going where the evidence lead. He said he was closely involved in the case, closely monitoring it. He's a man with a lot of integrity, and I suspect he's going to go where the evidence goes.
Apparently, we've read reports that they already were able to recover the deleted emails, or at least the vast majority of them. We're told that they finished that aspect of the investigation and then moved forward into the Clinton Foundation and whether or not there was a quid pro quo. During her tenure as Secretary of State. So it seems to me there's got to be some sense of urgency here, considering she is likely to be the Democratic presidential nominee.
Well, I think she's certainly the presumptive nominee. And here's what's going on, though, Sean. These are complex matters, and you and I have talked about this one, and that is the most significant issue still. More significant than the Clinton Foundation, more significant probably than what was in these emails. Of course, it was disclosures that could be very damaging, alleged to be very damaging to the United States national security. But it's the location of those servers. So that whole case has to be put together. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of lawyers on this. There's a lot of FBI agents on this. They're going through this, I think, in a thorough manner. The question is, what James Comey is saying, he is not going to be governed by a political clock. Now, this is where the differential is. And, Sean, this is, I think, the key part. There may well be a legal case of a violation of the criminal laws against, it may be the Secretary of State, former Secretary of State, it may be your aides. We don't know that evidence. The FBI does. The question then becomes a political one. Will the Attorney General authorize the indictment? And that means the Attorney General, of course, is part of the executive branch. That reports to the President of the United States. And will the President allow an indictment, maybe post-convention, against the then Democratic nominee for president? That's a very tall order.
Monica, thoughts? You've been following this closely.
Yeah, for the rest of us, the political calendar does show a lot of pressure, because once she is nominated, then it would look like a coup d'etat if she were to be stripped of that and removed somehow because of an indictment and political pressure coming from that. So the rest of us look at the political calendar and see time rushing down upon this investigation and on her. But what the director is saying is, we're not going to be pressured. We are an independent law enforcement agency, and we're not watching the clock. But the reality is that the clock is extremely important. And Sean, when you asked why it's taking so long, we do know that this investigation is running on multiple tracks. The classified material and the possible mishandling of it is one track. That's what everybody has been talking about. But the other track is far bigger and more important, and that is the Clinton Foundation track. My understanding is that's why this investigation is taking so long, because they have far more agents on this case, at least this is what my understanding is, than what we've been led to believe, and it may involve foreign countries, foreign entities, all kinds of complex transactions globally that we are not aware of yet. And remember that if that in fact is the case, there are other people involved in the Clinton Foundation beyond Mrs. Clinton that might make her not the only target. And by that I mean the former president of the United States, Bill Clinton, their daughter Chelsea, and others who have been deeply involved in the foundation. They might be in the crosshairs of the FBI as well. And if that is the case, and we don't know, but if that is the case, it is no wonder that the FBI is taking so long.
Wow. The fact that we can have a criminal referral against a Democratic candidate for president, it takes your breath away. It would throw this country into a political firestorm that we haven't seen since Watergate. Guys, thank you. Appreciate it. And coming up, we're going to take you inside today's RNC Rules Committee meeting. Randy Evans, he was in the room. He'll explain what went down. And then later, the 28 secret pages of the 9/11 congressional report. Why don't they show you, the American people? It's now under scrutiny so that they show a possible Saudi Arabian connection to the 9/11 terror attacks. Should they be released to we the people? That and more straight ahead tonight.